So for all the non-horror movie fans out there, this new A24 film might just be worth your time. The film is called Bring Her Back. It's a new psychological, supernatural horror film that is releasing out in theaters this weekend. It's met with so much hype right now due to its positive early screenings and being the second feature film from the rising filmmaking talents in the Philippou twins.
Security's coming, we're gonna be ready for it.
I'm telling you right now, the excitement in the film community is only growing for these two directors after their first debut feature with Talk to Me. It was a huge success both financially and critically. Audiences loved it, and now after 3 eager years of anticipation from fans, their next feature about a brother and a sister witnessing a terrifying ritual at their foster mother's home is finally here.
We wanted to do something different from Talk to Me. It's still a horror film, but it's more psychological. I always knew Bring Her Back was going to be the next film that I wanted to make. I was always excited about doing a character study and a psycho-biddy film.
So I actually got to see Bring Her Back last Monday for an AMC unseen screening, which is a cool thing that AMC does where every Monday they're going to have an unseen screen. So it's basically a mystery film and you go into it with no idea of what the plot is, right? And honestly, it's a hit or miss. So I checked Twitter beforehand to see what the expectations were, and most of the people were saying that it was Bring Her Back, so I booked it. And just to add some context, I still have not watched Talk to Me, and I know it's shocking after considering all the success I just talked about, but honestly, I came into this movie on a fresh slate, right? No expectations, no comparisons. I didn't have any bias from their previous work clouding my judgment. So with all that said, my personal thoughts on the film, I think it was just a solid movie. Really surprised me in unexpected ways. First off, very unsettling imagery throughout the film, but it's not the kind of horror that relies on cheap jump scares. This one builds that slow, creeping dread that I think is way more effective. Again, I'm not a horror guy at all, but they did their job with this aspect. Like, there's a scene in this film where I just had to look away and just cringe about the sound that came on the screen. Great sound design, creepy sound design as well. I'll just give you guys 2 words: fruit and ninja. Just think about the objects in that classic game that we played. Oh man, I just don't, if you guys know what I'm talking about, whoever watched it, absolutely terrifying scene. Oh my goodness, I don't know what I just watched. But I will say that this horror flick embraces both the gore and terror elements in a way that is essential to the plot and the characters. Another standout for me was how the film dealt with trauma, specifically around the dynamics of family after a loss. The movie centers on the relationship between a brother and a sister, and it truly excels at that. I appreciated seeing the nuanced relationship between the siblings and how the older brother is, navigating throughout his grief while still looking out for his younger sister. They're both shown to be quietly, carrying some vulnerabilities with them, making them more easily swayed by the circumstances surrounding them. The directors did a great job in showing us the complexities of this relationship and really the genuine sense of what they're going through. Well done performances from both actors here, and I just want to touch on one performance, which is Sally Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins. We love Sally Hawkins and felt so honored to be able to work with her. She lived and breathed this character. The process of her was so incredible. She gave a part of her soul for this character.
She played the foster mother, where Hawkins brings a whole new layer to this film, playing a role that is far removed from the normal tropes of an innocent and kind Sally Hawkins character that we're used to seeing her in, right? So like, I'm thinking about Paddington, I'm thinking about that recent Wonka movie, even Shape of Water, right? Now, there were some moments where the pacing didn't quite hit the mark for me. There were a few scenes where I felt like they were dragged out just a little longer than they needed to be. They were mostly in the first half, and honestly, they could have tightened it up a little bit more just to maintain that tension. It didn't ruin the film for me, but it made me feel like, okay, we get it. Let's go on to the next scene, There are also some unanswered questions by the end of it. I don't want to spoil anything, but I definitely get a sense that things weren't fully wrapped up. Like, I was left wondering about some of the deeper and darker implications of what just transpired. Overall, I definitely give Bring Her Back a solid 7 out of 10. It's definitely a strong entry for the horror genre, especially from the A24 track record of elevated horror. So some of the disturbing imagery and the focus of grief and family, and also just some of the emotional themes, definitely had me invested in this. But yeah, there are a few pacing issues that I personally thought of, and I think the film wasn't as quite complete as I think it needed to be. So if you're like me and you typically steer away from, you know, anything horror related, I actually recommend you watch Bring Her Back, and I think it's worth a watch. You know, it's got the right mix of, you know, tension and unsettling imagery, but also actually has some emotional depth to it as well, which I don't think is common for the horror films I've watched. But yeah, guys, that is all I got. I rarely do movie reviews, and it being horror is kind of a rarity for me. So what do you guys actually think about, you know, spring sort of summer horror flicks? I did one for Longlegs last year, an out of theater reaction, and that one got me for the marketing. I was like so into it. I was like, this is not a horror film, this is a straight crime movie. Wasn't really, you know, it didn't live up to the standard I thought it was going to be, but this one was definitely better than Longlegs. And I gave also my thoughts in that video too of horror films I've watched. I watched Conjuring series, Insidious, Annabelle. You know, still not the greatest thing, but Conjuring #1 was fantastic. But let me know what other horror films you think I should watch. I still need to watch Talk to Me, so definitely gonna do that. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. I've been on a down slope of making and releasing videos for YouTube, but I'm hoping to get back on it. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Have a good one.